Now we've had to just redo everything. I hope that's better sound and better connection. Please tell me if you can see me, hear me. So I want to welcome everybody tonight. Let's see. Can you please greet me and tell me if the sound is fine? If the picture's fine, and then I'll get started. Hello, everybody. Oh, okay, that was quite a bit of drama. Just trying to get the picture bigger here on my side. Can you see me? Can you hear me? The people online? There's 3 people, but I can't see. Can you greet me? Just say hello, send me a little finger. Yes, Heidi, hello. Is the sound better? The picture better? Thanks for joining me tonight. We have had a bit of drama, but I think we're going to we've got it sorted now. Visual and sound good. Thank you. Okay. Hallelujah. All right. I want to start in prayer again. I've deleted the other false starts. So if we can just pray now, because I said this evening isn't going to be easy for me. So let's just I need all of you guys to hold my hand, okay? I'm going to be showing some photos of Jessie just before she died. It's not easy, so if you're squeamish, don't watch it. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go actually onto my Dr. Lynne Tim's Ministries page on YouTube. We're going to put all the links there, all the photos, all the videos are going to be up there. I'd like you to go and like my page and just watch the real footage, I mean the videos and stuff of Jessie there, because I'm just going to show it to you on the screen. I'm still busy with it. I've prepared some videos already, but I've not prepared everything. So just go to my YouTube channel and you can actually, in about a day or so, you'll be able to see everything there, and we'll have all the pieces together. It's quite a lot of work. So I just want to welcome you tonight online, and let's get going. Hi, Belinda, I see you there. Perfect now. Thank you. So I'm going to start tonight just in prayer, and then let's just see how the Lord leads. I've got quite a lot of stuff prepared. I also don't want to be too long tonight. The system that I've had, the phone gets too hot, and I think that the dongle wasn't up high enough and the signal wasn't coming through clearly. So I'm glad that everything's working now. So Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you that you get us through all the hitches. Live isn't easy, but it is preferable because we can connect with one another. I want to thank you for my dear friends and family who are joining tonight. Also those who will watch the replay. I thank you that your hand is upon my life, and I thank you that your hand is upon all of us, us Christians, that your hand is upon our lives for good. That no matter what happens, or matter how much trauma comes, or how much heartache we have to endure, or how things are unpleasant and there's just a lot of struggle around our lives, I thank you that you never leave us or ever forsake us. And so tonight, as you hold my hand as I walk through the journey of Jessie, I thank you that many people whose lives will be changed, will be transformed, will be challenged, will be edified also, but also that is time to take stock of where our lives are at, because we can be alive today and dead tomorrow. We have got no guarantees about what tomorrow holds. So, Father, I ask you that you be with us throughout this evening and lead me by your Spirit as to what is really important to share tonight. What we don't finish, we can always share in another live Facebook program. So I just thank you that it'll all go well tonight in Jesus' name. So, guys, I'm just struggling with the whole preparation process because I'm actually technologically disadvantaged. So, when I've got to do a lot of these things by myself, then it falls short. I mean, I'm a preacher. I'm not a computer fundi or a video fundi or anything like that. So let's just get right into this. I want to show you a couple of things tonight. Remember, we're dealing with deception. And the big thing that I'm dealing with right now is vaccines, and also medical deceptions where everything is not the way that it seems. So I want to go into, I want to show you a couple of photos of Jessie as a baby. Let me just find it on my video thingy here. And I'm going to just talk through some of the stuff. Just give me a second to find it. So I hope that you're all doing well, and thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Okay. All right, so this is what I put together. I did some photos. I put some photos together of Jessie's childhood, and I just wanted to show you. It's a quiet video. There's no music or anything. But if I'm going to just put it on the screen so that you can see, and then I just want to take it from there. But I want to just show you. Sorry, let me just make it bigger for you. I want to show you. I just want to honor Jessie in these first few clips. I'm just going to hold it like that, and you can just go through the videos with me. There we go. Here we go. These are just of her, her, it's a pretty young lady, got a lot of desire for life, and she really wanted to have her own home and her own kitchen that she could cook in, and her own coffee and coffee machines, and she wanted a place that she can invite people over and entertain. She actually loved cooking. She was really good at making spaghetti. And she helped me cook a lot of stuff. I mean, she would just take things out the oven. I'd leave rolls, and she'd just have to rescue stuff, And but spaghetti was her favorite. And of course, she loved her coffee. She loved going out for coffee, and she loved dressing up when she went for coffee. So these are just some of her. I did put them on the links last time, but I'm actually going to put this video together with the next videos that I'll show you, and make a whole long video, which is going to go up on YouTube. But that's just a happy little girl, a happy young woman. Jessie was, even though she was handicapped, Jessie was still able to have children. And I know that she really wanted children. So all of that was cut short at the age of 28. And so what I'm going to do is I'm showing you the potential, and then I'm going to show you the not so nice photos of how it ended up. And yes, so if you're not wide awake, if you are not perceptive as to what's going on, a child's life can just be stolen in the blink of an eye. Although I believe that God allowed her to come home, he's not happy with the process and what people have done to Jessie, and he will vindicate and he will restore my life and my other children's lives in the process of what we've had to suffer with the whole Jessie thing for especially the last 3 months of her life. And she really loved dressing up. Do you see there? Always, pretty. And there's Jerome with her. She's 5 there, Neisner. And then I've got a few photos of her memorial garden. So here I am outside in our little garden, and this is the little memorial garden that we did for Jessie. It's very small, but it's beautiful. It's winterish now, so there are not as many flowers as there used to be, but still very pretty. And I sit outside here, and then just show you the little bicycle also, very sweet. So I just sit out here and I just meditate and just be quiet and think of all the things concerning Jessie and where we are as a family. Sorry, I touched something, I know. Yeah, we're still working on it, but I'm just thankful and grateful, and I appreciate it so much. Okay, so that was the one little video clip that I put together. I'm going to show you the others. I'm going to show you the others just now. But I want to get into showing you some photos just now of Jessie's process at the Grooteskier Hospital. So actually from the Knysna Hospital to the Grooteskier Hospital, back to George, and then back to Knysna. And the last part of the journey, which was about the last 11 days of Jessie's life, which was about the 1st of March to the 11th of March when she passed away. It's extremely hard for me to still go look at those videos, but I've got 3 little video clips that I want to show you. But I wanted you to see Jessie as a healthy, happy girl, and then what happened and how she deteriorated over a very short period of time. And it's not nice to see those, but I want to show the reality of medical deception, and I want to show the reality of where I'm at as her mom, and I want her to be vindicated, and I want God to get glory for Jessie's life. In the end, when all is said and done, we are going to put this body down in the ground, and we're going to go be with Jesus, and we're going to get a glorified body. But in the process, when we lose family members and friends, it's very hard for us to have to cope with that. Years later, we can still be in trauma and heartache because we miss those people so much. And yeah, so I just wanted to do a little bit quickly on the vaccines itself, and show you that I've got some new video clips on the vaccine. So just let me go in here. I've got a doctor here that speaks about the vaccine is not what you think. If you can look those, it will be posted up later, but this is actually a medical doctor, and he's explaining, oh, sorry, it's gone off. Sorry, give me a second. Medical doctor who's actually is writing on a board. I'm not going to show you the clip now. Just going to show you the reference there, and explains about the COVID-19 vaccine and why it's dangerous. Then there is another lady.
The video I'm about to show you is very disturbing. It's of Brandy Vaughn, the ex-employee of Merck Pharmaceutical, who is a whistleblower. She has the organization LearnTheRisk.org, and she was found dead yesterday. In this video, she documents the intimidation tactics that were taking place within her home and around her in order to silence her.
Okay, that's going to be there. Just me stop that. Okay, so that, and then I got this clip which speaks about, again, the ingredients in the vaccines. I do want to encourage you to watch the links, and also the last video had a lot of links on that you can go and watch. Robert will put all these new links in a document form again that will be easy accessible, and you can just go and look at it. Then it says the Council of Europe, no compulsory vaccinations and no discrimination against the unvaccinated. Just want you to, it says it's false, but they take the stuff off all the time, but that will be there. Then I wanted to just play you the short little clip of Chief Justice Mugeng, who spoke about the vaccines, and he's now fighting for his job. But I just want you to hear what he has to say about how he's defending himself and how he's standing up for righteousness, and just watch this little clip with me. It's very short. Here we go. Oh, it's not playing. It's unmuted.
People are not fools.
So, sorry, we'll just start again.
People are not fools. And maybe there is an assumption that our people are thoughtless. And maybe there is an assumption that whatever somebody says in the public domain, our people are so foolish that they will swallow it without reflection. I refuse to buy into the narrative that our people are idiots. Our people are thoughtless. Our people will just embrace whatever Mugeng says because it's in the public domain. Here is my position. My prayer is meant actually, and I hope it does touch every well-meaning Christian to cry unto God and say, Lord, indeed, if there is any vaccine that would have this result, if there is any vaccine that would negatively affect the lives of people, that vaccine must never see the light of day. So people must pray against that. It's important. So I'm not going to be saying, hey, the scientists are saying this. No, I'm not a scientist. I'm a prayer warrior. And I'm encouraging prayer warriors to pray. The thing about the vaccine, I'm not asserting it as a fact. I know that there is a lot of corruption in the world, in South Africa, in Africa, and elsewhere in the world. Look at what allegedly happened to the money that was allocated for the protection of people in this era. What happened? I tell you, if I had prayed openly before allegations of corruption in relation to that matter surfaced, if I had said, Lord, anybody who's going to be involved in corruption in relation to this money, deal with that person. You know what the response was going to be? The same question you are asking. Where did you get the information from that there is corruption in relation to the funding for COVID-19 related matters? So I'm crying unto God. Whether you call it politics or not is neither here nor there for me. And I won't stop doing it. I'm crying unto God. If there is any vaccine, I don't want it. I'm crying unto God for, this is the end time according to we Christians. So if there is any vaccine with 666, I want God to destroy it. If there is any vaccine meant to corrupt the DNA of people, I'm asking God to interrupt with it. Any clean vaccine, they must produce it quickly. People need that for their own health. So if anybody is going, don't pray against 666. Don't pray against Satan. Don't pray against corruption of the DNA. They can criticize until. I'm not worried about that.
Okay, so you know what excites me is that he's not shy and ashamed of the gospel. He's not intimidated. He's not stepping back. He's actually stepping forward. There have been quite a few news interviews already with him, and he just keeps standing for the truth. And he also, seen that he's the Chief Justice, he knows the law of South Africa very well. So he knows that he has a constitutional right, as all of us do, to stand up for truth. So we need to continue to stand up for truth. We mustn't be ashamed because we think, oh, there's going to be repercussions. Well, if there are repercussions, what? The people who are going to be upset with us are people who are going to be upset that we're speaking the truth. Should that stop us from speaking the truth? Absolutely not. I want to show you another 2-minute video clip. This is going to be an eye-opener for you, and this will also be on our links. They're probably going to take it down, but I'm showing it to you like this because if they remove my videos, they also remove all my links and stuff. But I've got copies of the videos. So if they don't like something, they block me, or they take my links off, or they try and stop the message from getting out. But if I'm talking like this and I don't give the heading a vaccine heading, and I actually show the videos like this, there's more chances that it'll stay on longer because not everybody's interrogating every video that's been put out there. So you try and, get around the system like that. So that if any of my links are removed or blocked on YouTube, at least I've shown you, and you can actually go back to my video and just watch the replay there. So I'm going to show you this one now, and this is actually quite shocking.
Okay, now for really, I think, one of the most important stories I have perhaps covered in my entire career in medical journalism, which now spans, around 15 years of working in television and media to discuss medical issues. Something gigantic has happened this week. At least I think it is, and you can decide for yourself as we weigh into this. To begin with, there is a world-renowned vaccine creator that went on his LinkedIn and put out a letter to every single professional in the world, essentially telling them we must stop the vaccination program immediately. Here's just a couple of excerpts from his letter. Let's take a look at this. As a dedicated virologist and vaccine expert, I only make an exception when health authorities allow vaccines to be administered in ways that threaten public health, most certainly when scientific evidence is being ignored. The present extremely critical situation forces me to spread this emergency call. As the unprecedented extent of human intervention in the COVID-19 pandemic is now at risk of resulting in a global catastrophe without equal, this call cannot sound loudly enough. He goes on, sufficient scientific evidence has been brought to the table. Unfortunately, it remains untouched by those who have the power to act. How long can one ignore the problem when there is at present massive evidence that viral immune escape is now threatening humanity? We can hardly say we didn't know or were not warned. In this agonizing letter, I put all of my reputation and credibility at stake. I expect from you, guardians of mankind, at least the same. It is of utmost urgency. Do open the debate. By all means, turn the tide. I think he goes on and has this statement to make, a form of a disclaimer, I suppose. For those who may have had some difficulty in understanding how mass vaccination drives viral immune escape, it will suffice to watch infectivity and morbidity rates in those countries who have now succeeded in vaccinating millions of people in just a few weeks, e.g. UK, Israel, USA. Whereas these countries are now enjoying declining infectivity rates, they will undoubtedly start to suffer from a steep incline in COVID-19 cases in the weeks to come. The steep decline we're seeing right now may be followed by a short-lived plateau, but a subsequent steep incline of severe disease cases is inevitable. These are shocking statements. And to be clear, just so you recognize, this man could not be more pro-vaccine. In fact, he may be one of the most highly ranked and talented vaccine creators in the world. Let's take a look at the resume of the man that is screaming at the top of the mountain right now. This is Geert van den Bosch, PhD. He was at GSK Biologicals. He was a senior project leader of adolescent vaccine projects, new biotech vaccine development and QC/QA manager, head of adjuvant technologies and alternative deliveries and R&D. At Novartis Vaccines and Diagnostics, he was the director, research program leader, and head of adjuvants. At Solvay Biologicals, global project director of the influenza vaccines. For the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he was the senior program officer, global health vaccine discovery. For Global Alliance for Vaccine and Immunization, which we refer to as Gavi, he was the program manager. And at UNIVAC, he was the chief innovation and scientific officer. He's also at the German Center for Infectious Research, head of the Vaccine Development Office, and at Verico, he was the managing director. Okay, this guy is anything but an anti-vaxxer. He is as pro-vaccine as you can get, yet there is something that has got him terrified. Now, that letter really only speaks to the professionals in his field. But luckily for us, he did an interview, I believe it was last week.
It raises the point that I've always been
Okay.
saying, is that we haven't spent enough time.
I don't want to get
on this.
into that. You can go watch the whole clip on my YouTube. But I want to say to you that he's a professional doctor in his field of vaccines. I'm not. I'm a mom. I'm professional in my field, which is counseling. I've been doing it for many years. But I'm first a mom. And as a mom, my child has suffered the effects of vaccines. My child has not only suffered from vaccine use, but she's also suffered from medical malpractice use. She's also suffered from a lack of proper medical attention use. So I'm bringing attention to all of these things, and I'm going to show you what she looked like in the end. And people who are going to be taking the COVID vaccine at the moment, many of their loved ones will end up looking like Jessie. If you don't take what I'm saying seriously, and you don't take the warnings that the world is giving you seriously about these things, the consequence will be quite severe. So I am warning, I am sending out my heart on a plate here as I share these pictures and Jessie's videos and stuff, my heart on a plate saying, don't just take everything that the medical profession gives you without checking it out, without getting a second, third opinion. Don't just take people's word from it. Don't just accept, oh, he's a surgeon. What kind of a surgeon is he? If he's just a normal surgeon, or if he's a neurosurgeon, for example, which is what Jessie needed. Found out later he wasn't a neurosurgeon. Okay, so let's go to some of the videos, some of the photos of Jessie and her whole hospitalization story. So let me just find those. I'm going to try and go through them as quickly as I can. And thank you for your patience with me. Okay, so here's a photo of Jessie at the end of November 2019. She was all dressed up nicely and she went to the log in to go and have a Christmas dinner with some of the people from hospice. About a few days later, in fact, this was just a few days before she was going to have her minor op, there she's at the hospital sitting with a friend of ours called Jenny, who was also a member of our church before. Jenny was also having a normal day procedure, but they're all waiting to be called. So here is Jessie. This was the issue why I initially took her to the clinic, and then we had to wait 4 months for a hospital appointment. You can see the shunt that runs down the side of her head has caused quite a lump on her collarbone, and it was irritating her while she was riding her wheelchair. So we wanted it checked out. Here it is, the inflammation has gone down. So by the time, that she's actually in for the operation, you can see the infection has gone down quite a lot. So you can hardly see anything on that collarbone. Do you see? No, it's not risen really. So basically it's just going to be cut, and then they're going to remove the shunt. This is the piece of the shunt that they removed. That little white thing is what was underneath her skin. They said it was redundant, and they only took half out this side again. This was under her skin till the collarbone over here, but it was running right down till about here. And so they only removed it until here, this piece, because this piece remained in her neck. Apparently it has metastasized. So they just cut it, put a plaster on, and left it. That's it. Sent her home, not even for a checkup. I want to show you that is all that there was, a little cut like that on her collarbone. So it's a day procedure, no problem. Jessie's going to be fine, not a big issue. Glad that something's happening with her now, that she's not going to be uncomfortable anymore. This is where they put the anesthetic in, a local anesthetic for her arm. So it was 2 little plasters. And then I still bought her some flowers for the day to cheer her up, so that Madam could know that she's special. I used to call her Madam. That was her nickname. My friend Tim used to call her Turkey. And the two of them used to tease each other. So we have these nicknames for Jessie. Here is, I want you to look at this picture closely. Do you see the water droplets forming at the bottom of that plaster? After a few days, it began to run like a tap, and all the liquid was pouring out of her brain. Of course, I didn't know that because nobody told me that was even possible. Here is Jenna having to replace the plaster, and you can see she's got disinfectant, she's got gloves on, but you can see already that scar is a little bit pink. So we were disinfecting, which is what we were told to do if, I said, what happens if the dressing oozes? No, we must just disinfect and change the dressing. Here's a picture of Jessie. When we changed the dressing, you'll see there's a little mark. Don't know if you can see it clearly on this picture. There's just a little mark where the droplets were. Where it was actually, I can't even show you on there. It's not possible. It's too small unless I enlarge the picture. You see there's a little scab there. That's where the dressing ended there, and that's where the water droplets were. And we put a new dressing on, just as we were told. And then on the 7th day, it was looking a little bit too red for my liking, and I took her to the ICU. And here's a picture of Jessie in not ICU, in the trauma, casualty ward. And they're soaking her feet, which had pressure sores on. They're soaking it in an iodine bath while the doctor's taking a whole lot of tests on Jessie. So here she is again, a close-up. You just see a little cut there. And while she's there, the feet aren't a big issue, but they're busy sterilizing the feet also. And she's taking swabs from her feet, and she's taking swabs from under that dressing to see what's going on in the liquid. I just want to show you some of Jessie's complications. You can see the deformity of the feet because of never having walked. However, she had her feet, and this is the one foot that the doctor wanted to remove when she was about 14 or so. and wanted to amputate her foot. She has both feet, but she has pressure sores on her feet, and the doctor's taking care of them as well. She had been going to the clinics and hospice, first the clinics for 3 years, and then hospice came to the house to dress her wounds every single week. They were not healing because of the lack of circulation on her legs. So Jessie had to deal with a lot. Here's a letter that we were given. Now we've been told that they're going to fly us off to Grooteskier, and there's the letter for the doctor at Grooteskier. Here's Jessie. They sent me home to pack, and there's a photo of Jessie sitting on the bed waiting for me to arrive back and for the ambulance to arrive to take us off to Grooteskier. There she's in the ambulance. We're off to George, and then from George, we thought we're going to drive all the way to Grooteskier in the ambulance. When we got in the ambulance, they said, no, we're only driving to George, and they're actually flying us. So it was quite an exciting time. So I took lots of photos. But when I packed, I also packed us some Christmas cake. It was the beginning of December, and I'd prepared some cake. I don't know how long we were going to be at Grooteskier, so I packed some in. We hadn't even eaten supper yet. And this is the Learjet that was waiting for us when we arrived in George. There's our luggage that I went home to pack and take with for us. And there they're busy loading Jessie into the body of the plane. And so lovely paramedics, guys who were well trained, helping Jessie. And there's a picture of when we were flying over George and the lights, the pretty lights. Then we landed in Cape Town, and we were, this is where the Learjet stopped, and Jessie was taken back into an ambulance again to transport her to the Grooteskier Hospital. And there she is, still happy and smiling, despite the fact that there's a lot of drama going on. There's me and her. And let me tell you something, Satan is very, cruel. While I posted these things on Facebook, and I got to the hospital, and while I was waiting for them to attend to Jessie, there was somebody who wrote this, and I put it up because I want you to see, it never rains, but it pours. And this person said, you must make everything so dramatic. Get over Jerome and your false prophetic words, really an irritation. Move on, girl. And you see people coming on there, especially Jenna, my daughter, to defend me and saying, what on earth is going wrong, is wrong with you? I wrote this letter to Garth on my Facebook. I just want to read that to you. I said, hi, Garth, we have just arrived at Grooteskier. She had the shunt removed a week ago. 2 days ago, the wound started leaking. By today, it was leaking so profusely, so I took her back to the hospital. They are still not sure what's going on, but the doctors in Knysna got in touch with the neurosurgeon here in Cape Town. They did tests, x-rays, etc., and it seems her body created a calcification around the old shunt, and the liquid from her brain was flushing down this self-made tube all these years. And when they removed the redundant shunt and sutured the wound, they cut off this unknown drainage system, and the fluid from her brain has been leaking out of her new stitched-up wound. As well, that she has infection in one of the pressure sores on her legs. Infection at this fragile stage can cause meningitis. So everyone jumped into action, and suddenly we were being flown to Grooteskier. It's all been a bit of a whirlwind. And there is Jessie's teddy bear, which we took with so that she would have, and that teddy have comfort, and Jessie's teddy bear sat on her bed all the time. We arrived at Grooteskier. I stayed with my cousin Gail. There's Taryn and also their daughter, and Gail's daughter, and Emma is her name. And I just want to say there's all the support that I could get. We were standing and having photos taken, but let me tell you, inside it wasn't going so well. You can put a smile on the outside, but we were all waiting for input about Jessie, and it was Christmas time, and there were all sorts of decorations in the hospital, which just made the atmosphere a little bit more cheery. And I was standing in front of some of the boards telling the history of the Grooteskier Hospital. When Jessie went into theatre, of course, I didn't know what to expect. Nobody was really informing me on a minute-to-minute basis. It is a public hospital, but they were doing the best they can. But I want to show you the first photos. Imagine you don't know what's going to happen now. So you're waiting for your child to come out. You're stressed. You're praying. You've got people on the phone all the time. You are just trying to like get through the moments. And then Jessie comes out and she's wheeled past me on a stretcher. And that was the first, that was Jessie, what she looked like. They'd shaved the top of her hair off, and there they'd inserted the shunt, a temporary shunt to drain the liquid off. When I saw her, when she came around, she found this in the bed and she showed me. That was where they'd shaved her hair off. They just left it on the bed, and she was very upset that all her hair had been removed on the top of her head. And I didn't want to show her what it looks like. This is what it looked like. So I tried to avoid showing Jessie what her hair and head looks like. That was the first operation. So imagine the shock and me seeing Jessie with a whole bunch of hair and not knowing how to deal with it as a mother. There was a lot I had to deal with. There was the visiting hours that we at ICU, and I sat there from 7 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night every single day, because I could only get a lift there and get a lift back because my cousin Gail stayed far away from the hospital. So immediately what I did in my time was to try and see what I'm going to do to cheer Jessie up when she's, as she's got to come out of hospital, because of course we're thinking it's just going to be a short procedure, put a new shunt in and she'll come home but have no hair. So what I did was I started looking for wigs so that, she could, I knew her birthday was going to come up in a few months, and I really just wanted to not to be self-conscious, because she's really got issues with her feet and issues with the hair and the shunt in her, and it's not a pleasant situation for a young lady to go through. So I wanted to buy her a wig so when she came out of hospital, she'll look all pretty. So eventually I did find one, and I'll show you just now. I just spoke to Dr. Semple, head of the neurosurgery unit. Jessie hasn't had an infection, but an organism did get into the open wound, so they have treated it as an infection and given her strong antibiotics. So at that time, they were still investigating what was going on. She will have an MRI scan, and then the actual surgeon will decide which shunt will be put in, an ETV device or a conventional shunt. Then a week of recovery after the procedure is done. So we thought just over a week. So there's all my, those are the messages I sent to people. This is the ICU ward. I wrote here, please keep praying. I am in a war zone right now, and Satan is facing me with head-on challenge with deceit, lies, slander, and defamation of my integrity and character that has nothing to do with Jessie. If I find the person unrepentant, I will have a massive obligation to deal with it publicly. This is all on my plate presently. So Satan, it never rains but it pours. Satan waits for an opportune time when you're weak and vulnerable. And as Jessie was coming out of theater, I was getting messages, is this person your husband? He's promising all sorts of things, and this person is saying this and this and that about you. And I had to deal with it. There was somebody claiming to be him dealing with somebody in South Africa, and they were running me down and criticizing me and saying all manner of evil stuff about me, and then I had to go deal with it publicly. This is in between me having to deal with my daughter and her traumas, okay? So there's Jessie that covered the wound up on her head, and she was resting peacefully. Then I had to go home. So in between visiting her in Grooteskier, now there's delays because they tried to put an ETV shunt in. It didn't work. And so the process is going on trial and error to see what shunt will fit, what shunt will fit, what shunt will fit. And I just put in there my ticket. I had to come home to be with the other children. Jenna was in Matric, and she was, well, it was school holidays, but I mean, between December and January, there was the kids to take care of. They were alone on holiday. Christmas was coming up. They were starting school. By February, it was Jenna's birthday. By March, it was Jessie's birthday. And every time I'm coming back and forth to take care of the kids in between all of these things. So it was a lot of pressure on me. And Jenna was in Johannesburg doing a nail course. And so it was all of those dramas and, just being mom at a long distance while she's going through all her things and Jessie's going through all her things and my boys are here going through all their things. I just felt like I was being pulled apart. But when I came back, I was excited because, look, Jessie looks like she's doing well. Smile on her face. She was on her phone all the time. If anybody knows Jessie, she loves her phone. She never put that phone down. So I came back home. I collected all the children after Jenna had finished her course in Joburg and flew back to Neisner. I came and collected them all, and we went back with my car. So I had some transport there. So there's Justin, Ryan, and Jenna with Jessie, and I'm taking the photo. There's me and Jess and Jenna. And at that stage, everything was still going well, hunky dory. We just thought it's going to be a little while longer than what we thought. Jenna posing with the Christmas decorations. And then, of course, Jessie, we knew she loved Kentucky. So there's Jessie eating a Kentucky burger. Absolutely loved it. We had Christmas for her. We had to leave again on the 24th of December because we could only be there for a week. We never had any more accommodation. Over Christmas time, it's very hard to find accommodation that's not expensive. So we had a week, and we decided to have Jessie's Christmas early, and we opened presents with her. There's beads that she got. She loved jewelry. And she made me a card. Her and my cousin Gail made me a Christmas card. That was the last card Jessie ever made me. I bought twin cups. You can see I've got one in my hand and one behind me, and one of those cups broke recently. I was very upset. I put a little clip up here. It said she gave her all and did her best, and not to impress others or to meet someone's definition of success, but because she knew God was watching her and he would honor her faithfulness. And so I just felt encouraged when I read that, because nobody will understand day to day what I've had to endure and what I've gone through. But God is encouraging me. He said, I know. So then in between the visits at the hospital, we had to entertain the kids. So here we were at the Hard Rock Cafe in Cape Town. Just a lovely outing to take the pressure off the kids, because we were going twice a day, morning and evening, to visit Jessie. And in the meantime, I didn't help going back to Gail's house. So we just kept ourselves busy in town. Here, Jenna was doing her sister's nails. Isn't that just beautiful? What a lovely memory. So she came back from the course, knew how to do nails. She didn't put any nail polish on. She wasn't allowed to, but she filed and washed her filed her nails, washed her hands, gave her a manicure. Look at that. Now when you look back, these photos are so important. She's filing. Oh, sorry, just jumps. Find it. Yeah, so there was just that. Just filing her nails. And then we went to the waterfront, and we took some photos at the waterfront. So this was the pattern: visit Jessie, go out for the day, visit Jessie, go home every day. This was the second visit. So, but I'm glad that all the kids were there and had the opportunity to have a Christmas celebration. That's my nephews and nieces. We stayed at Gail's house, and she did us a beautiful. There's my cousin, Gail, most beautiful woman ever on the planet, and she just stood by me through all that time. And when I couldn't visit Jessie, Gail would be visiting Jessie. There were some other people who visited, but Gail was the regular one there. And before we left back for Neisner, she gave us a Christmas lunch. And we went back to see Jessie the night and celebrate with her, and then she had a fever. And she had to go in for another operation, and this is what it looked like. The shunt had blocked. There was too much protein in the liquid, in the fluid from the brain, and then they shaved her again and put another shunt in. These are not pleasant photos. Can you see? Every time we came back, there was more and more drama. You can see she's looking a bit flushed there. But let me just see here. Oh, Gail and them went to, after we left back for Neisner, Gail and them went to visit, and then Jessie got more Christmas presents. But she wasn't well. You can see she's not a happy chappy. The fever has taken its toll. There's a little dog that she also had on her bed after this, until she came back to Neisner. Here was a wound on her stomach as they were testing the shunts to see if it was actually draining into her stomach. Just the family with her. It's very taxing on family when a loved one is sick. Another visit with her, just asking her what she wanted. And there I've shown a picture of the Grooteskiet Hospital. I mean, listen, it's massive. You get lost. You actually have to have a map or get somebody to direct you because it's ridiculously impossible to find your way around there. And some more pictures of gifts that she received. There's Gail and her family visiting over Christmas because we couldn't. For unto us a child is born, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Just a Christmas cheer verse. And yes, Jesus has been a wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, and has just held my hand through all of this. So when we came back to Neisner, we as a church celebrated Christmas together, and there's some of our people. We just had a get-together for Christmas lunch. I made lamb, and there I'm eating the lamb bone, just for a bit of a light-hearted humor. There was our Christmas lunch. Our trifle. To my family and friends, who I'm blessed and grateful to have in my life, may God's love, peace, and joy fill your heart and home this Christmas and throughout the new year. So just was encouraging myself in the Lord. The greatest Christmas present is being with your family. This last Christmas was my first Christmas without Jessie, and let me tell you, it was hard, but my family made it so beautiful for me that it took the edge off, and I wasn't at all forlorn. I actually had really good memories of Jessie, and I dealt with it a lot better than I thought I was going to be, that I was going to deal with it. Christmas and birthdays, the first one, without them is really just the hardest thing ever. And then there I've got a clip, Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. And if it's not for God with us, how will we cope? Here's Penny. I hope she watches the replay. And Penny was one of the ladies who was Gail's friend who just went and visited the hospital often. I want you to look at that picture of Jessie because I'm going to show you the deterioration. That is where she's still looking fine. She would nod off to sleep quite often. She was always tired, and I just thought it was the medication. That's the hallways of the hospital. On a few occasions, Jessie was allowed to sit up for a few minutes, but mostly she had to lie flat on her back. The hospital staff. Then Jessie was moved to the S7 ward, which is the neuro ward, but it's out of ICU, which is where she got her gifts and stuff. So we thought, yay, Jessie's getting better. Another photo with her and Penny. Thank you, Penny, for all your love for Jess. Then she was transferred to George. There's her at George holding her favorite little dog. But she wasn't right when she came to George. We all saw she had a fever and she was delirious and she was talking strange things. This is when she was coming to have her pressure sores, skin grafts done on her pressure sores. That's why they moved her to George, and they thought that she was fine. But she was drinking a hang of a lot of water. So we kept filling up her water bottles and giving her cool drink. And as she was delirious, she didn't sometimes even recognize who we were. So we had to drive to George and back to visit her because it's about an hour's drive. That was quite a feat in itself to just go and see her. Then they realized I found a little blister on her head, and I called the sister in to have a look. Anyway, that ended up being meningitis. I just want to show you if I can find my phone. Just give me a second. I just want to show you this. I've got different photos on different phones. But guys, to go through drama like this is not easy. If you don't have somebody supporting you at this time, you can actually go insane. It's such a lot of pressure. There's such a lot of financial needs, and people came to my aid and just began to bless me and send finances because, I mean, it would be 1,150 in one way to Cape Town. Never mind what you're spending when you get there. Then it was needs that I had to, give Jessie snacks and drive around in the day, keeping the other kids entertained and keep them busy and take them places. I mean, it was just a ridiculous amount of stress and pressure and demand on me. So let me just see if I can find these photos of her in the George Hospital quickly. I just want to show you these, drinking such a lot of liquid. You can look at her eyes. I washed her hair for the first time in 6 weeks. And it was then that I found this little lump on her skull, like a little blister. And I called the sister to have a look. Look, her eyes don't look right. And I blow dried her hair. Her hair was growing back on the top. But her eyes, her face is not right. She was very tired. She was sleeping all the time. But I washed her hair and she felt so much better. But when they checked the blister, that is what apparently there were pockets of ventriculitis, which is worse than meningitis, pockets of the bug in isolated sections of her brain. So they sent her back to Grooteskier. After they did the operations on her legs, they sent her back to Grooteskier. And let me just see if these are the photos to show you now. Yeah. So this is what, again, when I get back to Grooteskier, they've shaved her hair off more again and more plasters. She's not looking really good. I don't want to take too long on these photos. I want to get to the others. Then my brother Larry arrived. He's a medical doctor, and he came to support me because she was back in ICU. And he said that the heart monitor started beeping chronically when he walked into the room, and I was so grateful for his support. And then we were waiting to see the doctor in one of the cafeterias. And we visited her every day in ICU, and you can see that they've shaved off most of her hair. And there's Justin there next to her, and he was holding her hand. Okay, so I'm going to get to that photo just now. Then I want to show you Victor. Victor met me on the bus when I went back at the bus stop. He took me by bus to the Grooteskier Hospital, and on the way we stopped at a market to buy some flowers for Jess. And I'm just really grateful. Went to the supermarket to buy her some goodies, and there she is. And you can look at them. I don't know if you can see the mouth is skew again, and the eyes are hollow. But she was happy. She recognized me. She knew who I was. There's a smiley face with her flowers. And me not looking very happy. I was stressed so much at that time. And here, I just showed the top of her hair because her hair was beginning to grow back. They were concentrating in other areas of her brain. So in the interim, before the ICU incident, her friend Darian came to visit her, and Darian has since passed away as well. So they're both with Jesus now. But Jessie had the sitting on her up on her arm, which was very grateful for, just for those few minutes that she was allowed to sit up, just for the photographs. And then Matapelo arrived, and she prayed with Jessie for hours. She just really spent so much time giving Jessie spiritual food and nourishment while I couldn't be there with her. And there comes the next operation. She had 14 in total. I can't even keep up with any more, how, when, and where. Shaved her hair again, new shunt. New shunt. Look at the eyes. Something's not right. Then I came back again after we saw Larry there, and we came back to Jenna's 18th birthday, and I arranged a birthday party for Jenna. And the night after the birthday party, we left straight away back to Grooteskier, me with all the kids again. And we stopped at I think it was the Wimpy in Riviersonderend, and had breakfast together. This is keeping the family together throughout the crisis, not leaving anybody too long here at home, and not leaving Jessie too long there alone, and having to juggle between the two people, keeping eye on the kids here, and then somebody keeping eye on Jessie over there. And it was a lot of logistics. It was a lot, I promise. It was just so much. Look at, they shaved all her hair. It was at this occasion that she told me that she was seeing an angel. She was seeing angels. She pointed up to the ceiling to tell me. Yeah, they inserted a feeding tube in her nose. And here's just a happy celebration with me and Larry when he was there, because it was his birthday too. And this is what she looked like virtually daily when we came to see her. You could really see the deterioration. Feeding tube. Then she was taken out of ICU, went back into S7 ward, and then one night there was a hangover, a lot of drama, because the feeding tube had come out and she was choking on the food and the doctors wouldn't do anything for her. And that's when I heard the Gail tell me that the doctor said they're not allowed to do any procedures on her because they're waiting for her to die. And maybe I'll put that clip up on YouTube. You can see how irate I am as a mother, and I'm getting hold of the doctors. And I'm from here. I mean, I'm in a state corresponding with Gail as to what's the process with Jessie, and really just in prayer fighting for her life. But this was before that. This was when she was still in ICU, when she was telling us that she woke up and she told us, she pointed at the ceiling about the angels. And in between, again, there we just went to the waterfront to keep ourselves busy. There's got Ryan and myself, and then Jenna with some of the dancers there, the tribal dancers. And then there's that photo that I showed you earlier with Jenna, Jessie, and Justin. She was looking very peaceful there. And then we decided to celebrate her birthday because we had to go back home to Jenna's birthday. And we celebrated her birthday in the ICU, and we had cake and we had balloons. And she was just lying there in the background staring at this, basically just staring at the ceiling. And that's when she showed me the angels up there. It was her 18th, that was her 28th birthday, but we had it early. We celebrated it again in Neisner. There she's looking at the camera, but not much movement. On the way home, we stopped at Hartenbos, Mossel Bay, and I took the kids to the hot pools there, and there's Jenna jiggling to the song with the big water balloon thingy. Can I just show you? Oh, I don't think I can show you the clip. Maybe another time. Okay, so where to from here? So then they did the best they could for Jessie, and then they sent her home to George. Then they sent her back to Neisner, and they sent her to the hospice ward where the doctor said she can be there until she can come home. So I'm expecting all this time that she's going to come home. Now I want to show you, if you don't mind, I want to show you a video clip of Jess. I showed you her pretty pictures in the beginning because I wanted to have a stark contrast to the end. Let me just find the videos quickly. I'm asking her to open her eyes for me.
Hey, babes. I'm here to see you. Hey? Love you. Love you. Hello, mommy. Hello, mom. Hey. They ain't blinking. Hey? You are so. We want to do a little bit for you, hey? Hello, mommy. I heard you say hello, mommy.
Yes, David, I see that you say such a trying time for Jessie and the family. Absolutely. And I want to show you, I'm showing you these videos because I want you to see how trying. You know, people always see the nice side of the ministry. They don't see the suffering side. And I'm not going to withhold the suffering and make out that the gospel is just an easy walk. It's not. We have suffered greatly with Jessie. And Jessie suffered greatly too. At this point in time, when I took the video, she hadn't opened her eyes in a week. So she was opening her eyes for me. I'm going to show you another one.
Move them by yourself. Go. Move your lips for mom. That's a big change today that your eyes are open nicely, eh?
Guys, do you see the deterioration?
Jessie, love you. Jessie. Jessie, mommy loves you. Hey, precious girl.
At this time, they had stopped feeding her for about 10 days.
Yes, can you hear your name?
And I was feeding her through that tube to keep my child alive. And I was getting advocates involved because they were trying to kill her,
Over you, Jessie.
to cover up that they should never have cut the shunt in the first place.
So now, we're going to use this muscle. Precious.
Okay, I'm going to stop that one. I want to get you another video. That will be the last one of these that I show you. It's really traumatic, guys. You know, to watch your daughter dying in front of your eyes is not a joke. And I showed you all the pretty pictures of her as a little baby and stuff. So, you know, when I'm talking to her, it's like she's a baby again because, you know, she couldn't respond. She couldn't open her eyes. She couldn't talk. She couldn't move her mouth. She couldn't eat. It's a really sad situation to see a child that you've given birth to deteriorate like that. Let me show you this one.
Hey, beautiful. Everybody wants to say hello to Jessie. Love you, my sweetheart. Love you.
This was before she came home. There were still signs of life. My cousin Gail was with her. Her and the family were there with her. Let me just see. Okay, wait. So this is the one I actually wanted to show you.
She just wants to see that you're good.
This was before. Still in Cape Town with Gail.
Hi, Mom. Fun.
You hear that? Hey, Mom, I'm doing fine.
She just wants to see that you're good. Hi, Mom. Fun.
And she was still doing fine. I want to just show you these. You give me a second. This was on her birthday in the Knysna Hospital. It was the 5th of March, and I didn't know, sorry, 6th of March on her birthday, and we had a birthday party for her, and I didn't know that she'll be dying in 5 days. I was going every day. Many times in a day. To just put food in her drip, in her nose, tubes, so that I could keep her alive because they were refusing to feed her. I went to see the superintendent of the hospital and asked him to please feed my child, and they refused. I got hold of the neurosurgeon in Cape Town and asked him to please speak to the doctors and the nurses involved. And the neurosurgeon got hold of the doctor and said they must feed Jessie because she's going to still live long. They must feed her, they must give her the right medication, they must take care of her because she's coming home. And a few days later, she was dead because they refused to feed her. Because they were trying to kill her so that it would not be seen that they had done a medical blunder on my child. And then they made out a death certificate that said natural causes so that it would just look like she died. She didn't make the operations. And it was a lie. It was a deception. And when the autopsy was done by the forensics doctor of the area, they found out that she died of unnatural causes. I still don't know what those unnatural causes are. But I want to tell you that this has been a sick ride. A lot of unethical behavior. A lot of deception and lies to cover up medical malpractice. Cost me and my family a lot. But what I did was I celebrated her birthday in style. I got all her friends were around her. I want to show you the video. And we put the wig on her that we had bought because she had no more hair. And we celebrated Jessie as she would have looked as if when she was still well with her dark hair. So I got a dark wig. And I just want to show you the little video because she was looking straight at me after her eyes not being open for more than a week. She was on her birthday. She responded to her mom's voice. And I just want to show you that.
We're all here to celebrate your birthday. Oh, you do recognize us all. We love you and happy birthday. Can we sing happy birthday to you? Could you wash it away? Yes. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jessie. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray. Another hip hip. Hooray. Another hip hip. Hooray. Tim, can you take a photo of me and Jessie?
Let me just see if there's. Oh no, I've shown you that already. Just give me a few seconds. I'm just going to get some photos that I have on this phone. I just want to show you the end photos. I'm going to flip through the photos very quickly, but basically this is it's going to go from here right unto her death. But can you believe that before she passed away that her eyes opened and she was looking at me? Oh, those are nonsense. Oh, those are just her medical reports, but I'm going to show you the last few photos. There was a bruise on her arm, on her hand, and she had not had any injections or any drips or nothing for more than 2 weeks already. And suddenly this massive big bruise appeared, which is obviously something was amiss. It made a big bruise on her hand, and the forensic doctor would have picked that up. Here's the food that we were feeding her, but they only fed her like 8 days after she had not had any food. Then they suddenly, because of all my complaining to the superintendent and getting advocates involved, they started feeding her, but it was too late. Look here. That was her after she passed away. And guys, it wasn't natural causes, it was unnatural causes. That was her. And I want to say that all these people that are taking vaccines right now will be sitting where I'm sitting now and crying. And Jessie's life mattered. And they treated her like it didn't, like she was a guinea pig. And I want to say to you that to anybody who watches this video, you think you're saving your children's lives by giving them vaccines, but you're not. You're actually causing more problems than good. And if you go and read the clips that I've put on, you're going to see all the sicknesses and diseases that are caused through vaccines. And this doctor that I showed you the clip of, where the man was saying that he's so highly, this doctor is so highly skilled, he was with Melinda Gates Foundation and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, or that guy says that vaccines can actually cause damage in future generations. And I believe in my heart that the vaccines that we had as children was passed on in our lineage. The damage was passed on in our seeds. And the spina bifida, I believe, was vaccine damage. And then they vaccinated her as well. And this is how the generations are getting sicker and sicker. It's not because there's so much sickness and disease, but evil people are actually creating the diseases and then giving medication for the diseases. And they're acting like God. And God said to me when I asked him, but why didn't you heal her the way that I anticipated that you would? He said, I'm not happy with the way they were treating her. And you can see how I've said the way that they were treating her. And it wasn't even medical science. Because when you take a doctor's oath, you take an oath to save people's lives, not to kill them. And to cover up their own mistakes, they killed her and they stopped feeding her. And I had to go all sorts of routes and methods to try and keep my child alive because they refused under the hospice program to feed her at all. I got my brother Larry involved from Johannesburg, and his wife is a ICU sister, and I asked them, what can I feed Jessie? But because she could choke on the food going into the tube, I could only give her a little bit at a time. And because she'd not had food for like more than 10 days already, the little bit that I was giving her, and the saline solution, or the what do you call it? Not the saline solution. There's just a liquid that gives her electrolytes and stuff like that. It wasn't enough to sustain her life. Now, I'm not saying that even if she had to have food, I'm not making a prediction what would have happened, how long she would have lived, or what the outcome would have been. What I'm saying is this dramatic change in 10 days since she comes from the hospital. Mom, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. 10 days later, a complete and utter non-responsive child. It's just such a shock. So what I want to do quickly is just let us not leave now on a very negative and crying note. And I want to thank you guys for putting up with me crying. But you need to see the raw emotions. This is what I was dealing with on a daily basis, in and out of hospital, fighting for my child's life. And it is traumatic. And I don't want you to see, you know, the side, all the faith, all the glamour, we're pressing into God, we're trusting God by faith, because there is that, because we believe that God is a healer. But there's also the suffering side of Christianity, which the prosperity gospel, for example, doesn't embrace at all. If Jessie died like this under the prosperity messages because she did something wrong, or we did something wrong, or we didn't have faith. Not at all. It is a lie. And I want you to see the raw transparency of a family struggling through the death of a loved one and trying to make it happen and survive it and see them into the eternity in the most restful situation that you can, while your own heart is busy breaking. And so I want to show you some photos quickly of Jessie's last birthday, so you can see how her friends came around her and we all stood with her and we were all there for her before she passed away 5 days later. So if I can just give me a second to find those photos. Again, they're all in different places, so you just be patient with me. And then I'm going to finish for tonight, and please go and look at the links and warn everybody about everything as pertaining to a vaccine, please. These things are harsh. It's not pleasant to see it. It's hard for me to have to go over it again. I've been trying to avoid looking at all those photos and videos for a whole year. And then, you know, God forces your hand because he wants me to be completely healed. I'm in a process of healing. I took a year not to do a lot of ministry. I was still ministering while my heart was broken, but I took time to get healed. But I'm still in my healing process, and I'm still in the mourning process. It's only just been a year now, and I want to help others also through their mourning process. And after a year, I'm now able to face the videos again, and I can actually look at them. This is a picture I want to show you. It's my favorite picture of me and Jessie in the hospital. So I'm going to put all these clips and videos together, guys. It will make up one video. And let me just find her last photos quickly, if I can. Oh, wow. Excuse me, my nose is running too now. Are there any questions, anything you want to say while I'm looking for these photos quickly? Just they might be on this phone. Anybody want to make a comment or just say something? I'm sorry if I've been a bit long again tonight with a lot of delays in the beginning. I just really appreciate you coming on, helping me to get this out. Because you're here encouraging me and helping me, it's going to go onto YouTube, and for the rest of my life, it's going to be up there on YouTube where people will be able to go and have a look at it. So I want to thank you for standing by me, supporting me. My family, Heidi, thank you. It's just been a really torrid time. So I think they're on here. And in the meantime, you're fighting other battles that people also know absolutely nothing about. And you're trying to survive it. Literally survive. So I'm also thankful for the support I've got down here with Tim and Steve and my family and Rob and David and Hillary and Kevin. These were the guys who stood by me and supported me through all of this, and I really love you, and I'm really grateful, and thank you. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to flip through the pages, and you can see from when she arrived, there we started Sorry, it was the other photo was before her birthday, but yeah, we start with the birthday photos, if you could just see. That was Jess. No, very few people know, but Jessie actually had a boyfriend. And that's David. He's standing by her. We all wished her happy birthday, stood by her, spoke to her. She responded to every single one of us by either squeezing our hands or just blinking at us. That was her cake and her flowers and her teddy bear. There's all of us. So basically, Jessie had a farewell in hospital. We look at her looking at me. She was blinking, responding to me. So basically, that was it. We were all saying goodbye to her and we didn't realize it at the time, getting her ready to say goodbye and go be with Jesus and to be with her dad and her granny, who she loved so much. And while I was making plans, I bought her new pajamas. I was making plans for her to come home. We were busy moving. I was busy moving with my kids so that we could find a bigger place, so that when Jessie came home, that we'd be able to have a better place for her to get well. And she died. So that's basically the end of that. I've got another little video clip I made in the garden. I'm just going to show you that video, and then that'll be the closing. So we close on a bit of a highlight, not on a downlight. Excuse me. Could I ask you to? There should be toilet paper or tissues or something somewhere. Thank you. Guys, just give me a second to find this, and then we'll go out on a happy note. But I was sitting in the little garden, and I just took this clip, and then I said I'm going to show you all the bad photos. So I just want to show you that little clip because I did prepare it. So if you can just give me a sec. Yeah, I think maybe this video will have to be edited a little bit because there's been quite a lot of delays in it. Oh, here we go. I'll just play that for you. Thank you. I'll just play this for you.
Hi everyone, I've done this short video clip just to show you some photos of Jessie when she was young and as a grown woman, and her memorial garden. And after this I want to show you the not so nice photos of when you give in to deception and your child has had what you feel is a good quality of life, and suddenly at the age of 28 she's just gone. And I want to show you some of her hospital photos, and I want to show you some of the operations that she underwent, and just, you know, all of it is part of Jessie's life. So it's not just all the nice things, but it's the not so nice things as well. And as for the first time I'm putting these videos and hospitalization photos, all of them open on open forum. So some of them are graphic. If you're a bit queasy and stuff, don't watch the photos. But I just feel that we have to face it with Jesus Christ, and facing it is facing the not so nice things in our lives and helping and letting God help us to deal with it. So here we go.
So here we go. And so I just want to pray with us tonight and say, through the not so nice times, may the grace of God carry us and keep us. So I just want to blow my nose for a second. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ just really carry us through these turbulent times. Many of us have been on lockdown for over a year. Couldn't travel, couldn't see loved ones, couldn't interact with people that are even alive. And I think many people around the world have got into a state of depression because many have lost their businesses as well. So I had COVID in between everything else, and a lot of and moving my house, and just a lot of pressure in between everything else. And then Jenna, of course, finished her matric, and then this year she's been started working. She's opened her own business, and I've got some of her stuff at the back here. There's her certificate. There is her prices for her business, and so she's doing nails, and in her little salon here. She's got a salon that she's sees her clients in, a very pretty little place. So I'm using it for the studio. So a lot of things have transitioned in our lives, and I'm still not in a happy place, but I'm in a getting better place. So I want us to pray together, because I want to pray for you all and for everybody who's going to watch the video in future, that may the Lord hold your hand tightly through your trials and tribulations, through your heartache and your pain, through your not understanding stuff, through financial lack, through trauma, through squeezing, through loss of loved ones. That, suffering is real, pain is real, it's part of life, and we need to learn how to deal with it without falling apart completely, and without giving up our faith in Jesus and say, oh, well, where were you? Why didn't you do this? And, start getting aggressive with him. Keep a respectful attitude with Jesus, because he's not the author of all of our problems. He's the one that gave his life to try and help us, and to help us and heal us and get our hearts in a fixed place. So let's not turn against the Savior, who is the one that's going to rescue us out of this all. So can we please pray? Father, thank you for everyone that's listened to this testimony. It's going to be better if they can watch all the clips, because it will all be in order and it will make sense, and they can flip through it as quickly or take their time to read stuff as they want. But I pray that through our tragedy, Father, that others would be encouraged, that through whatever drama they're going through, that they will know that you regard with compassion, and you regard that loves us, and you love Jessie, and she's running around in heaven now. She's got no more handicap, and she's got no more baldness. She's got her hair, and she's got a pretty face, and she's happy, and she's with you, Jesus, and she has eternal life. And is that not where we're all going? So I ask you to be a comfort and encouragement to those who are going through trauma, that you be the God who's close to us, that your very presence will help us to overcome, that your very presence will be what strengthens us to get through everything, that you be the God who is closer than a brother, and that you show yourself strong on our behalf, that we have someone to lean on when it just feels like some days are just too much. So, Father, as I've revealed all of these things, and there's more that I want to talk about, but in another time, but as we have shared this time together, I thank you that you bind us together with cords that cannot be broken, because we are the body of Christ. And so as we say goodbye now, Lord, let us ponder on our lives, and that it is fleeting. We are here today and gone tomorrow. And what legacy do we leave? And what input do we have? And have we loved our neighbor as we have loved ourselves? Or have we been selfish? For all of those who helped me and my family and Jessie, bless them, Father, as they have shown me the love of Christ. And I honor them today in Jesus' name. Amen. Good night, guys. Bless you. Re-look if you want to. Send me messages on inbox, messenger. And I'll meet with you again 7 o'clock next Thursday. And hopefully we won't have as much drama with the starting off of the videos. I'm getting better at it now. Bless you guys. Love you all. Good night. Oh, I need to put it off and I don't even know how.